Welcome everybody to our studios here in Santa Fe Springs, California. Bruce Soto with Bruce Soto Events. Also, we got some of Bobby D Presents people in the house. And once again, I'm very honored to let you all know that I got the legendary Mr. Joe Bataan in the house.
Hey,
What's up, my brother Joe?
Glad to be here, Bruce. Welcome all the fans out there, and glad that you're joining in.
Well, I'm so happy to say. Let me see if I can turn this around. Patricia, can you do this for me?
All right.
All right. So, just so you all know, Joe just got back from Temecula, pouring out at Pachanga Casino last night. And how are you feeling today?
Oh man, I feel great. Every day that I wake up is a blessing.
Good.
So
That's good.
I'd like to give a shout out to the people that were at the Pachanga Casino. They did a great job. I've never met so many people that were so polite.
Viejitos Car Club, all good
Yes.
people, good gente out
Good
there,
people,
man, with all the
yes.
very good people. Joe, we have you December 8th at the Microsoft Theater for a concert with Brent Wood, Barbara Mason, Joe Bataan, Rolls Royce, the Shy Lights, and more. We're really happy that you were able to sign on board with this. And how are you excited about doing this show?
Oh, it's very exciting because there's a little history involved in here, because this is going to be the first time in almost 20 years that Joe Bataan is going to be performing at a different site in December. And that day is going to be special because I'm going to be praying for the first time, big time, in December at the Microsoft.
Awesome. We're so thrilled that we were able to get you for this show because we're going to make history that
Yeah,
night.
no, definitely.
We're
It's
definitely
gonna
going to
be
make
different.
history that night. You got anything special planned for us?
Well, I don't think there's anything more special than me praying for la gente, right? So, with the families that come down, I mean, we have to be gratified that what we transpired the whole year and all the blessings that we received
Amen.
is all going to filter down that day at the Microsoft Theater, and we're going to say thank you before we boogie down.
Yeah, awesome. We're looking forward to it. You know or may not know that Joe and I, we have a lot of history together. We've been doing shows together for quite some time.
Oh, yeah.
And had some great turnouts, and it's always been a blessing. And you've been in the business for forever. I always wanted to know personally, out of all the concerts, all the events, everything that you've done in your legacy and your history, what is the one performance or one moment in your career that just stands out the most, memorable, never forget, and just, I know there's got to be one of them.
Well, there is. It was a couple of years ago that I was invited to the Smithsonian,
Wow.
where I was honored.
Wow.
And I couldn't understand why me, guy from El Barrio. And
Well, don't they have dinosaurs in the small?
yeah. So what had happened, there was 3 organizations that got together, and they said, well, gee, this guy has been a bridge to our cultures, especially to the Latino culture, the Asian culture, and the black community.
Right.
So as a result, they said, Joe, we're going to honor you because you have brought so much joy to these different genres of music. And of course, they honored me that night. And we brought the whole band.
I got goosebumps. I'm
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
goosebumps right now. Just on that.
And
That
just
is awesome.
recently, I've been invited back for
Wow.
next year.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That is amazing. Absolutely, what
Yes,
an honor. I
Oh,
mean,
it is a meat for a guy like me that grew up in a barrio,
what an honor. And here, my most memorable moment was having Joe Bataan work at our shows. Hey!
Yeah, all right.
And how about we were talking earlier. The one person that you've looked up to in the business, I know that you worked with a lot of artists. Who's that one person that stands out the most of your past history that you've worked with?
You talking about musically?
Bruce Soto?
or-
Did you say Bruce Soto? Oh my God, it was me! Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just in your performance that you
But it's
worked
la
with.
gente. You got to understand the love affair that Joe Bataan has with La Raza. I mean, I'm not forgotten. I mean, it's almost 60 years.
And
that
I
came
can
here.
contest to that because
You know?
he is so true to all his fans. I mean, literally true to all his fans. He signs autographs, takes pictures with everybody, and so I'm a witness to that. Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
It-
I'm the first one there and the last to leave.
It truly humble, and that's why the fans all love Joe Bataan, is because it's real and he's real, and I can contest to that and amen to that. So, you gonna be able to do a song for us in a little while?
Oh, sure. I can pick out something. I just woke up, but
Okay,
do
wait a
my
minute. But
best.
I did want to talk about something. Here,
Okay.
Because of our history. Let me see if I can do this correctly. So this was our last show that we did at Original Mike's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you had taken a break. Let me see. You guys can see that. Yeah, we did a show, a concert over there, original mics. It was sold out. A wonderful show. That was great. And I always make sure, well, get a little autograph too. But one of my favorites that Joe blessed me with was this picture, and I love this picture. Anything because this is like where it all started from, and this was what year was this?
1968.
1968. I wasn't born yet, but they said it was a good year. No, and this is one of my because this is like the real deal. This was in Harlem.
That's right.
This
White Park. White Park in Harlem.
Do you know some of the people in the back?
Oh yeah, those were some. This was the youngest band in Latin music. Some of these guys were 12, 13 years of age.
What?
I was the oldest guy. I think I was about 22 in this picture. There's Richie Cortez, Tito Gonzalez, Chino Galan, Chiqui Fuentes, you name it. They were all there. They were the youngest band in Latin music.
And the reason why I really love this picture the most is because as a kid growing up, this is the Joe Bataan I remember from my brother's albums and stuff. And back in those days, the albums, you know, if you're a musician or into music, you read every single credit on that album, who produced it, and so I became a big fan of South Soul Records. Okay. And little did I know until last year at the concert that he was the owner of South Soul Records.
Right,
he was the founder of South. And I was just blown away. So this picture really, really means a lot to me and brings back so much history of my family, my brother, and getting into music business. And I just think it's just one of my favorite pictures of all time.
Yeah,
Once
thank
again,
you.
isn't that awesome?
One of my favorite too.
Look at that. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
But, so once again, I'm going to give a little plug for the show that we have, the White Cat show. It's on Sunday, December 8th at the Microsoft Theater. If you can see behind me, we have the legendary War is going to be there. Bretton Wood, Barbara Mason. I had Barbara Mason in San Jose, and what a beautiful lady and a beautiful heart she is. The Shy Lights, Joe Bataan, of course, bam, and his band. You got to hear his band. His band kicking it, man. So they'll all be there. Trish Toledo, Patty Drew, and Mike and the Sensations. It's going to be a wonderful show. You can get your tickets at access.com or call our office 800-805-1117. We'll put that up on the screen. So, Mario, can you just put up the flyer right now as we get into this? And maybe my brother Artie can put some music on. And we're going to take a short little break because I got to stretch because I'm old. And we'll be right back with Stephanie and Bobby D Presents, and they're going to come and ask some questions as well. We'll be right back. Thanks, Joe.
Okay. Ooh, all right.
Yeah. So we're still live over here.
Oh, okay.
Putting the posters over here, putting the flyer on over here and stuff like that. Chico, how's everybody in Joe Bataan land? Everybody's good? All right.
Great. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and
sure.
when we come back to
yeah, definitely.
Record something.
Sure.
Artie?
I really want to give you thanks for that. Well, I just want to start off with a couple questions.
Shoot.
Let's start with what advice would you give to your younger self? Like looking back, what would be an advice that you would give?
Well, in retrospect, you know, I would have to say the same thing that that led me to be aggressive in my life, and that's health, knowledge, and spirit.
Right.
All right. You have to take care of your body so that you're able to do the other things that you want to obtain in life for success. Spiritually, you have to believe in the supreme being, the big boss. He controls everything. He will guide you. And of course, knowledge, you shouldn't let a day go by without learning something new. When you put those three ingredients together, then you have to success. Right? And that's what I used when I worked at the juvenile prisons when I was younger, and the advice that I give to a lot of people.
Right.
You know, and of course, that's what I would give to my younger self.
And
you know?
everything, I feel like everything that you lived, experienced, eventually did lead you to today. And I feel like,
without a doubt, it comes full circle. It was that, that ultimate aggression, never giving up.
right,
Never taking no for the final answer in anything that I wanted to obtain. So I had this drive and this hunger to succeed, in life, and God has been good to me.
right. And I also heard, like, in another couple interviews, you wanted the only way to survive back then was, feel the pain, the struggle, and the only really way to, get out of the streets was to be either an athlete or a
Or an
musician.
entertainer, right?
And
Exactly.
you really did it. How do you feel about yourself today?
I'm not arrogant. I'm proud. If a musician stood here and attained some kind of success and wouldn't say that he relished what he did, he's lying. Right? I enjoy my records.
Yeah.
I listen to my own records, right? Because I always want to improve and to do something better.
Right.
So I'm always looking for ways to obtain and curtail my audience in some way. So by listening to what I've done in the past, I'm able to think ahead of the box on what I'm going to do in the future.
Right. All right. For all the fans that are looking right now, we are curious to know what's a normal day like for Joe. Tell us.
You
tell
won't
us.
believe
We want
it.
to know. We want to know.
Well, it's not at the pool, with a cocktail. Actually, I'm the chauffeur in my house because I have to drive all the grandkids, similar to what Blue Soto does. And I got to take the kids to school, and in the morning, I wake up maybe at 2 o'clock.
Wow.
Right? I raise very early because that's the only time that I don't get calls and people are not bothering me. So I go onto the computer, I do my social work, what I have to do in publicizing my work and events that I've done, and then I have to start waking everybody up. Everybody sleeps. Nobody wants to wake up in the morning, and I wake up all the kids, and then basically I have to drive to 4 different schools. So
Wow.
I got to make sure there's gas in the car, and I'm putting all the kids in the back, waking them up, dropping them off, and then I got to schedule that they got their lunch bags and everything. And what happened was that in my family, all the grandkids were born at the same time, so they're all the same age. So if I got to go to one house, I got to take the other kid over here, and they're all in similar grades.
Multitasking
Yeah.
here.
So that's the beginning of my day.
Right.
Aside from that, then I guess I got to go out and do the errands for the wife. She has me out there shopping, and I got to buy the food for the day. You name it, and then
love
pay
that.
the bills. So it's pretty much the normal routine of the average person
Right.
that has to try to survive. And
Yeah.
a guy by the name of Hector Masanabe, I guess Bobby D knows him, gave me advice. He said, Joe, don't ever complain.
Yeah, that's right.
He says,
Thankful.
I am totally blind, and I wish somebody would bother me every day. And I took that into big consideration when you go through life. Don't complain about how busy you are and how
That's
you're
true.
utilized. Just be thankful that you still can do it.
That's true. Amen to that. How do you manage to balance, like your normal life routine when like shows come in and then Joe Bataan has to come in and perform? How do you balance that?
Well, it's difficult, but it's enjoyable because now I'm retired. When I was working the 9 to 5, which I did for 25 years at the juvenile prison, it was very difficult because I worked the night tour, then I had to stay up all day and do the chores what I do now. Now it's a little easier because I have most of the day to myself,
Mhm.
and I direct what I have to do
Right.
during the day. You know, except when the family interferes and says you got to do this. But no, no, it's been difficult, but enjoyable
Right.
because I find time to put everything in
That's good.
place, and
Mhm.
God helps me.
Amen to that. So now that you mentioned that you have, a little more time to yourself and stuff, do you have any other secret talents or secret hobbies that we don't know of?
You know, when that question, it was a question that I don't normally get,
Right.
and I'm only as good as the questions that are asked me.
Mhm.
And it just so happens that I thought of something. I just finished writing my memoirs.
Wow.
So
Nice.
it's my first attempt at being an author,
Awesome.
and it took me almost 25 years to write this book because eventually, I mean, initially, I started out with 3 pages and
Right.
never wrote anything. And then a guy stood me at a job that I was working. He said, "Joe, you're wasting your time." I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "You should be writing a book." I said, "I hear all these different stories about you, and there's a market out there for you." So then, in the last year,
Mhm.
I took time actually to write this book. And of course, I couldn't, and I had to research what I could say and what I couldn't say,
Right.
right?
That's
Because
true.
we're talking about 50 or more years in the music business, my ups and downs, having been incarcerated, coming out with nothing, being hungry, walking the streets. I mean, the drugs that were rampant back then, the gang fights, the mafia. I mean, you name it, it's all in the book.
Mhm.
And I'm excited because it's part of my bucket list. And then I realized that this is another project similar to music,
Mhm.
and I have to approach it very carefully on how I release this project.
Right.
So it's just been edited, and of course, my next step is to find a publisher. If I don't, I'll publish it myself.
Wow, that's
And
amazing.
I'm excited.
Congratulations. I'm really looking forward
Oh,
to
and
it.
the book's going to be called Streetology.
Street allergy.
Let me
Oh,
give you-
Wow.
I like that.
I
Let
like
me
that
give you
name.
let me give you a little hint on how the word came about. It's a word, and it comes up in the opening line of my book that's not learned in Oxford, and it's not learned in Cambridge or Princeton.
Mhm.
It's the sixth sense that you get from your mother, and it's called Mother With, right? And it tells you the do's and don'ts of how to survive.
Yeah, that's true.
pretty
That's
awesome, Joe.
awesome. I like that.
Mhm.
Also, right now about music today. What do you think about that music today? And is there any artist that stands out for you?
Well, call Mars.
Bruno Mars.
Oh, what a talented young man he is. And he sort of reminds me of certain things that I went through, and of course he's been accused of different things that he doesn't adhere to his background. I don't believe in all that. I believe the kid is very talented. He brings something to the plate,
Right.
you know. Aside from that, as you said, what do I think
About music today.
about music today?
Mhm.
It's the same thing that it's always been. It's the same notes. It's a B flat, was a B flat back then, and Beethoven and Wagner were playing. And what had happened, that they changed the style. During the years, the music has evolved into different cultures,
Right.
but it's always been the universal language.
It's true.
So, music today, if you want to look at it, well, you only know it from the time that you were born. Well, that's criminal, because you should study music. You should study the history,
Mhm.
where it came from, how it was done before you,
Mhm.
right? And then you can get an understanding of how music has traveled,
Right.
you know?
That's true. That's true. Now we wanna know if we do have some questions from the fans. We're
Oh.
gonna ask
Nor-
Patty.
Noreen just says, hello, Joe. I have, what's good, bro, Joe?
Yeah, everything's good.
Everything.
Joe Bataan is the best.
All right.
What's up, Big Joe? What's up, Joe, from Big Mike?
Okay, Mike.
Carmen Alvarez says, love your music.
Okay, thank you.
Rose Fierro says, can't wait for the concert.
Right,
A lot
December
of
8th.
thumbs up. David Rivas, Doreen, we love you guys. The one and only Joe saying hi, Big Mike. Yeah, y'all, a lot of thumbs up going on. Barbara Abad, Let me see who else. There's so many. God bless you, Joe. Love your music. Frank from Pomona, California.
All right.
Thank you so much, Joe Bataan, Berta Ramirez, Rosie Fernandez, high five. Peter Ruiz, big thumbs up. Let me see. Let Joe, I say hi. Please, Big Mike, got love for him. He's a good
Big
man.
Mike, hey.
Nita Guzman, thank you, Joe, for your beautiful music. My son is 31 with autism. Every night when he goes to bed, he has me put an oldies, and he always asks for Joe Bataan.
All
Oh, that's
Love that.
amazing.
That is
Yeah.
awesome. Anita, you want to say hi to her son?
Yes,
Her name's Anita.
Anita. Tell your son that I'm sending my blessings, grace, mercy, and peace. Without God's grace, you cannot have any mercy. And if you don't give that mercy to someone else, you'll never have peace in your life. So,
Amen. That was awesome. And then Frank, Joe, your music is great. My mother, who passed away from stage 2 cancer, loved your music. I listened to your music. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Joe, and also the Soto Band. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it, Frank. Barbara Bob, hi, Mr. Bataan. Do you remember singing the Lord's Prayer when you were young? And was it did it inspire you to sing that?
oh, without a doubt. I mean, the story goes that I was at my restaurant, which my father made me buy, and I used to practice in the back room, and the Bible was on the piano, and I had this melody in my mind, and the Bible fell off the piano, and I said, oh, wow, that's what he wants me to do. And I opened up to the Lord's Prayer, Our Father, and I said, let me see if this fits in there. And lo and behold, as I played the chords and the music,
That's beautiful.
it fit perfectly, and I said, it's got to be a sign.
Yeah.
And the story goes that for many years, I probably was ashamed to sing it because, you know, we came from that era where you couldn't
be
carry
tough,
a Bible and stuff
right.
like that. But then, of course, when I almost met death 25 years ago, several times, I made that promise that wherever I perform, I would do that Lord's Prayer, and I've been doing that ever since.
Very awesome. Couple good questions here. Joe, if you didn't do great music, what would Joe Bataan be doing today?
You know, my idol was Jackie Robinson, and I wanted to be a baseball player. I wanted to follow in his footsteps. I believe that a lot of the inspiration I got was watching Jackie play. I actually saw Jackie Robinson play, Joe DiMaggio, Mickey Mantle. I mean, those was my pastime. Unfortunately, I didn't grow any bigger than Bruce, and I didn't make it to the farm system. So thank God that music came my way, and I was able to do stuff with music. But I would have tried to be a baseball player.
Amazing.
Okay, and then they said, he was asking if you would perform with collaboration with anybody, favorite artists. How about like Bruno Mars? And you just answered.
Oh,
that one.
yeah. Well, you know, in the earlier days, they used to have some of these showstopper concerts, and I've played everybody from the Stair Steps to Gladys Knight, James Brown. I mean, I've even played a gig with Harry James. Some of you probably don't remember, but Harry James was one of the premier trumpet band leaders back in the days for movies and everything. There's quite a number. I'm sure if I sat down, I could remember everybody. But no, I've had some memorable moments with a lot of stars, yes.
And then real quick, because we have a lot of questions.
Okay.
Real quick, another one was, last night, they said it was a great show last night.
Oh,
in
thank you.
Temecula. The best singer ever, truly blessed. God's hands are holding your musical blessings. Wow, very nice. Much love and respect from the Martinez family in La Puente, California. Can you tell a little bit when you were sharing moments with Rafi Pagan? Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Because we shared a lot of stories with Rafi Pagan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Rafi was like my brother. Rafi was a shy person, very good guy. I mean, he was a good guy. He didn't even smoke cigarettes. And Rafi came out here when I came out. We were the only two New Yorkers in California at that time, and we had this intention to bring our sound to the West Coast because we always thought about Hollywood and stars and the lights, and we wanted to come out here. So we got on a plane, we came out here. Rafi, fortunately, stayed out here. He got into a relationship, and he did his music out here. And then he started getting involved in doing a lot of concerts. We had a guy that used to drive us around, Pepe Gutierrez, and he would tell us all about the Chicanos at that time, because we didn't know what a Chicano was, you know. And we met Ray Andrade, who was the producer of Chico and the Man, and he says, Joe, they love your music out here. I said, yeah, why me? He says, well, he says, the Chicanos. I said, well, they said, could I be a Chicano? He said, hell no. You got to just be yourself. And I never understood that until now. You know, here it's 60 years later, and I'm playing for La Raza, and it's a blessing. But Rafi was a great guy. I mean, the story goes that he called me. I was in Atlantic City, and he said, Joe, come out to California and let's do concerts. So we did concerts at the Gold Dust, Roger Moore, or one of those halls in industry back then, and we did a lot of concerts together. And of course, we were the talk of the town at one time, you know, here.
Awesome.
Yeah, but eventually, unfortunately, he called me one day and he wanted me to go to South America with him, and I was doing well because I had just about to release Rappo Clappo to the world, one of the first rap songs ever. And he went to South America, and of course, unfortunately, you know, he was killed. People have different stories because what's ironic about that, the real true story never came out about what really transpired. But Ralphie was a great guy, and he's still loved and remembered here by everybody.
Amen. That's why they're asking questions about Ralphie, just
Yeah.
because of that.
Exactly.
Do you have questions?
Yes, from Bobby D. Presents.
Oh, okay,
family.
Bobby.
Yes. So Angel Sandoval wants to know about your Latin roots, how important they are to you.
Okay. Understand this, that I grew up in el barrio, right? El papá mío es filipino. Mi mamá es morena, pero el corazón es latino. All right? So just to show you that I had to learn Spanish. You know? And growing up, my next door neighbor spoke Spanish. I had to learn. So I got a quick lesson in the culture of Latinos, right? So what the thing was, and Tito Ramos says this from the TNT band, he says, Joe, you were a minority. And he's right, because I was in the midst of Latinos all over the place, and I was the only Afro-Filipino, you know, with a Latin heart that was in the neighborhood that didn't speak Spanish, so I had to learn fast. And then before that, I didn't know salsa or clave from a hole in the wall, so I had to learn. By trial and error, Joe Bataan's story is a Cinderella story because I learned clave, I learned how to dance Latin, and I learned how to play the music. And then I was involved in the culture of Latinos. And for a long time, people took it for granted that, well, Joe Bataan's got to be Latino. But I was, my heart. You see, so there's a difference. It doesn't matter, you know, what you are. I embraced Latinos around the world, you know? And now,
And they're also asking about you being the king of Latin soul. How did you get that title, and how you mixing all those fusions of music with this Latin and soul?
Okay.
And that also goes with another question over here on our do you realize that you're a legend? As a Latin soul legend.
Well, number one, just to get it straight, Joe Bataan is not the king of anything. There's only one king. That's the big boss. All right? Unfortunately, when that got that moniker, I asked the guy, Tito Ramos, I said, Tito, what do you think, man? They're calling me the king of Latin soul. And he says, Joe, they don't know you. I said, what do you mean? He says, they don't know what you went through to get to the music and what you did, carrying pianos in the street, being hungry, having guys sing all night to 5 o'clock in the morning. He says, they don't know the struggle. He says, you deserve it. So that made me feel better about having that title. But I never expressed myself as the king of anything. You know, I'll be honest, it doesn't hurt. You know, it doesn't hurt when people say that. So, you know, it's a business situation. It's great to be called that, you know.
I do have one other question. You have all these beautiful songs. You gotta have one that's your personal favorite, because I'm sure you have your family telling you, oh, this is my favorite. Your fans telling you, no, this is my favorite. What is your favorite song?
Well, you know, I got to tell you a little history why every country that I go to, there's a different song that's a favorite.
Right.
So I only realized that when I started traveling the world. When I went to the Philippines, it was Afro-Filipino because a lot of Filipinos or people never sang about their culture. And here I came from nowhere and I started talking about I'm an Afro-Filipino. They said, who's this guy? You know, and then of course when they see my picture, they say, he don't look Filipino. Man, who's this guy, you know? But no, that has a lot to do with it, you know? And I'm just gratified that I'm able to make a dent somehow in the music industry, you know, with my music. Of course, Rappo Clappo was the first rap song to ever invade Europe, right? Before Sugar Hill Gang. I mean, I traveled with Sugar Hill Gang. We fought for the #1 song in the world at that time. Of course, they had hip hop, the hippity hop, whatever that song was, and I had Rappo Clappo. I wasn't a rapper, but I had the foresight to see that this was going to be something new, you know. And of course, when I used to go into the studios and I said, "Look, I got this new song," and it's my right. He said, "Joe, get out of here with that junk, man." He said, "Don't you sing anymore?" I said, "No, but this is something new." So it wasn't until Rapper's Delight came out that they realized it was something new and they called me. So then, of course, I'm the second one, but I never got credit until recently. You know?
Recently.
Yeah.
And with that, Joe, we want. I got a lot of requests about you singing a song.
Oh.
So since it's my studio, no, I want to request one of my favorite songs, and I know it's a lot of people's favorite songs because they were asking. So if you would sing "My Cloud."
Okay, you gonna pay me units
Yes.
still?
So everybody, welcome Joe Bataan. He's going to be singing one of my favorites, your favorites, "My Cloud."
All right, pump it up.
Joe.
Let's see. Thank you, Lord, for the cloud you made for me. I know you put the cloud there for all of us to see. That I'd have a home amongst stars to cure all my ills and all of my scars. But I'm tired of living on a cloud alone. I need a girl to help build my happy home. I'm gonna search and search this whole wide Milky Way, and I'm sure I'll find a girl someday to ride real high on my cloud in the sky, to live together till the day that we die. But until that day, I'll remain here on earth, looking and searching for a girl that's worth. To share my home and all that I own. To love and guide me so I won't be alone. The girl I marry will live in my cloud, and I'll do my best, my very best, to make her proud. Oh, that she married and carried for me. Babies by the dozen, maybe 1, 2, or 3. And on my wedding day, I'll give to my wife a necklace full of stars for the rest of her life. Thank you, Lord, for answering my prayer. Thank you, Lord, for answering my prayer. Thank you, everybody. Make sure you come December 8th to the Microsoft Theater when I pray for la gente.
Hey,
Y la raza.
awesome. This is an opportunity right now also to say goodbye to your fans that are watching you, and just a quick shout out to our promoters that are doing the events. You're ready.
Without a
I
doubt.
love that. I love that.
Let's give a shout out to Bobby D presents FKOA and Blue Soto Events. And I just want to make a note of it. The only show in town in December is going to be at the Microsoft Theater on December 8th. So you make it a point to come down and see me sing and to pray for all la gente en la raza. It's going to be a history event that you will never forget. I hope to see everybody there. Of course, you know, I'll be there with War, Brendan Wood, Barbara Mason, and all the gang. And we have something special for la gente. God bless you.
Awesome. Thank you guys for
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe, once again. A big shout out. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
Patricia over here. Thank everybody for tuning in. Once again, he's real. Thank you guys. We'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
All right. Good.
Awesome, Joe. Say goodbye to
Hey,
the
bye there.
Thank
All
you, guys.
right.
We
Woo.
appreciate you guys.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Peace out.
That was awesome.
Woo.
Good
Okay.
sh-
Hey,
good
thank
job,
you,
brother.
man. Thank you.
I think